It's Lionel Messi! He scored! The goal the world wanted!
It's time for the biggest sports stories.
It's Neymar trying to feed it through. It's a stretch and it's in. And I can't remember the last time I saw something like this. Extraordinary scenes.
The biggest interviews.
It's more difficult. Obviously, it's more difficult.
And all the analysis right here.
If they play poorly, they come back, they've got all the excuses. You can't have it both ways.
Every weekday, it's my sport, it's your sport. It's ZiFM Sport. Let's join the team for the biggest show in the world of sport on ZiFM Stereo. My station, your station.
It's a very good evening, Zimbabwe. It is a Monday. It is Manic Monday. We certainly hope you had a restful weekend and you are back to the grindstone today. And of course, lots of sport to get through. The ICC World Cup qualifiers got underway yesterday. We've already seen a shock result in Afghanistan beating Scotland. Big game for Zimbabwe tomorrow. It's all coming up in the show tonight. In the hot seat tonight is myself, Mark Pozzo, Barry Menandi, our man Sim, and Alois Punjira. And behind the decks is our man Sean Tafaranika. This is ZiFM Sports on a Monday. What's coming up tonight, Baz?
There's lots of stuff on the home front. Cricket news is that Zimbabwe cricket captain Graham Creamer, as he prays on the Chevron's top-order batsman performance following their impressive outing in Zimbabwe's emphatic 116-run victory over Nepal in the opening Group B match of the ICC Cricket World Cup qualifiers. In baseball news, Zimbabwe baseball team coach Americo Juma has expressed satisfaction with his side's preparations for an Easter tournament to be held in South Africa from the 3rd to the 7th of April. In football news, Highlanders coach Madinda Nkatazi Lendlovu's youthful side might have received the much-needed confidence booster ahead of the new Castle Premier Soccer League season following their win over an experienced Caps United side to lift the KCD Mohadi Shield at Barberfield Stadium yesterday.
To our international sports news roundup, where the Proteas lasted just 18 minutes and 22 balls on day 5 before losing their last wicket as they fell to a 118-run defeat to Australia in the first test in Durban. To rugby, and former Springbok coach Nick Mallett says the Lions Super Rugby win over the Bulls in Pretoria was due to their dominance up front following the Lions' 49-35 win in the derby at the weekend. And in tennis, Juan Martin Del Potro continued his dominance over Kevin Anderson, putting the brakes on the South African's brilliant run of success to claim the ATP Mexican Open title over the weekend.
We'll take a break midway for the Zolfibronics play of the day before we dive into the beautiful game, and it is our Castle Lager football report, where in the Premier League it was business as usual as Manchester City dominated, and it was another dark day for Arsene Wenger as his Arsenal side lost for a 4th consecutive time, meaning their top 4 chances are all but gone. In La Liga, Lionel Messi's 600th career goal for the club and country sent Barcelona 8 points clear at the top of the La Liga table after a vital 1-0 win over Atletico Madrid. And in Serie A, in a weekend marred by the untimely death of Fiorentina captain David Astori, Edin Dzeko scored twice as Roma dealt a major blow to Napoli's hopes of winning the Serie A title with a 4-2 victory at the Stadio San Paolo on Saturday night.
The ZiFM Sports team proudly dressed by Adidas. A sale not to be missed currently at the Ideal Range Adidas concept store here in Zimbabwe, Sam Levy's Village and the Village Walk. Soccer boots, rugby boots and all gym kit on selected items up to 60% off. Hurry while stocks last.
The Warriors, the Chevrons, the Cheetahs, the Mighty Warriors and the Sables. From the pool to the track to the field, we are Team Zimbabwe. The Home Front. Local sports news and analysis.
Let's start on the cricket field because that is where the hype is at the moment. The Zimbabwe cricket captain Graham Creamer has heaped praise on the Chevron's top-order batsman performance following their impressive outing in Zimbabwe's emphatic 116-run victory over Nepal in the opening Group B match of the ICC World Cup qualifier. Sekinder Raza first scored a blistering 66 ball 123 and then returned 3 for 48 to get Zimbabwe's campaign off to a flyer as they beat Nepal batting first in overcast conditions. Brendan Taylor and Raza scored centuries and forged a 173-run stand for the fifth wicket to help Zimbabwe post a towering 380 for 6. Raza then struck with his off spins to lead the way in restricting Nepal to 264 for 8 in their 50 overs. Let's hear from Chevron batsman Brendan Taylor, who says he's pleased with the winning start, while Nepal captain Paras Kadaka admitted his side were no match for the Chevrons on the day.
The way the openers started today and the power display they showed was fantastic, and that sort of allowed us just to go out there and play freely and try and continue the momentum. Yeah, it allowed us to get ourselves in, and not take any sort of rash risks or anything like that. But yeah, it was just trying to get an idea of what their bowling was like. So just to spend some time in the middle and try and sort of set yourself up for the tournament and try and take some momentum as an individual through the next games. Yeah, it did it. It was a little bit slow. The turn was slow, off the surface a little bit slow, but yeah, once you got yourself in, it was a pretty good wicket, and there weren't too many demons in it. Big boundaries, so the guys ran hard, and yeah, there's plenty of opportunity to try and capitalise on the ones and twos, and the boundaries options were certainly there. Absolutely. I mean, he's proving how valuable he is to the team, and with bat and ball, and he's our best fielder by a country mile. So he's a real asset, and for a small bloke, he packs a real punch, and he keeps getting better. So it's great to see. I'm very excited. Thanks to I mean, there's some big games coming up, so there's no resting or anything. Just a lot of hard work left in us, and we're only as good as our last game. So we need a big performance against Afghanistan on Tuesday.
I think they batted exceptionally well, especially Brendan Taylor, and I think Sikandar Raja's innings was the difference. He just came and, there's some clean hitting. Bowling-wise, yes, we could have done better, but it was just one of those days where batting was exceptional, and like as a bowling unit, we tried different plans and different things, but they batted us literally out of the game, like scoring 380. We just wanted to take one ball at a time, and for us it was very important that we at least try and get as close to the score as possible, because 380, it's a pretty big score, to be very honest. But still, we just wanted our batters to go out there and be positive. I knew that it was a good wicket. Maybe a couple of our starts could have been maybe into 80s, and maybe one of us, if we could have got 100, and that would have set us a very good platform moving forward. But still, we managed to get 260 odd runs, and so if we had bowled maybe slightly better and had restricted them to around 300, 310, maybe things could have been different. But still, first game of the tournament, and I mean it just didn't work for us today.
Well, you got to say that it was going to be predictable that we had to win this game. I mean, but for me, I think the good thing was that we batted first and we actually got a lot of runs on the board.
Yeah, got a lot of...
We took us to score to 380, and as Brendan Taylor said, they needed that time in the middle.
Yeah, 100%. And we talked about it on the show on Friday when we previewed this game.
When we
said,
stopped talking about Nepal?
Yes, we stopped.
Eventually.
When I stopped
when you were trying to sell us Nepal.
No, I wasn't trying to sell you Nepal. I was saying we needed a victory just like this. A solid performance by the boys, and look, to be honest, I think this was built on a platform of the guys up front, where you got Solomon Mire, you got Cephas Joao. They did the business. I think Solomon Mire bringing up a half century at the top of the order, then Cephas Joao, Mayor as they call him, bringing up I think it was a 37 ball 41. So those sort of platforms already set the tone for, it means the middle order is not under pressure. They can go out there and enjoy themselves and express themselves, and they did exactly that.
They did exactly that, and I think around about the 30 over mark, we're already approaching 200, and usually back in the day they used to say the score that you get after 30 overs is what you can double. So looking good for 400. So I'm slightly disappointed, but that's just me being greedy. That's just me being greedy. So it ticked all the boxes that we needed. The right batsman got in the middle, got some runs. Maybe even in the bowling ranks, maybe we could have tightened up a bit, the fielding and all of that. But look, it's a win. And considering what also happened to Afghanistan, who we play on Tuesday, it's been a good start. So now we just need to consolidate against them.
Do you know, that's the issue, isn't it, Paz? That now Heat Streak and his management team have got a psychological issue with the team, because now you look at the result that came out of the Afghanistan-Scotland game, where Scotland prevailed over Afghanistan, which we all didn't expect. The boys might think to themselves, listen, Afghanistan may not be as good as we thought. So when we take them on tomorrow, the guys have got to be in the right mind frame to be at it that we can actually take Afghanistan if we win our game.
I think you've got to look at Afghanistan in the same sort of breath as you look at Bangladesh. They're certainly very hard to beat on the subcontinent.
Yeah.
And look, I think they've travelled here, and I think they're actually devastated with that loss to Scotland. I think put it down. They are the favourites to win this tournament, hands down. Hands down.
Yeah.
And look, I think we got a good win, which was predictable, but it was a good win, which we needed. And I think going into tomorrow's game, I think it's going to be hugely important. And I would say favoured Zimbabwe here.
Favoured Zimbabwe.
Just. I agree. Here's why, and I think to myself, there could be an issue of a surprise package in this group now, because you look at it, the victory by Scotland of 7 wickets over Afghanistan looks like it was comfortable, and also then makes Scotland the unknown. Absolutely, yeah, you're right. It was a hiding for Afghanistan. So it then makes Scotland the unknown quantity. We need to go out there, win our game against Afghanistan,
which
and
pretty
then
much eliminates Afghanistan.
Exactly,
and then do the business against Scotland.
Do the business against Scotland and ensure that we qualify as top of the group. That'll be 100% record, which will be a brand new territory for the Chevrons. It's really brand new territory for us.
Worried when we
isn't it the Super Six? Yeah. You carry your points from the. Aren't you carrying your points?
You carry your points through from the preliminary round.
So it's actually quite good to actually have a 100% record, so that it can actually give yourself. Ourselves.
Yes.
But you've also got to work on your run and also your run rate. That your run rate as well.
To start the Super Six right at the top.
Absolutely. And so, listen, it's all to play for. I think the Chevrons have put themselves right in the frame in this tournament. But as we say, we're speaking tongue-in-cheek on the basis that the Chevrons are brilliant one day.
Yeah, we need them to be consistent.
They need to rock up tomorrow and do the business.
They need to arrive tomorrow.
But other results, eh?
Yeah, there's some other results from the opening day in Group A. United Arab Emirates beat Papua New Guinea by 56 runs via the Duckworth-Lewis method. In Group B, Ireland beat the Netherlands by 93 runs also via the Duckworth-Lewis method. And then tomorrow, Zimbabwe will take on Afghanistan, Hong Kong against Scotland. Ireland will face Papua New Guinea at Harare Sports Club, and the UAE will face the West Indies.
All right, staying with cricket now, Zimbabwe national team captain Graham Creamer yesterday said that all-rounder Sean Williams will not be able to make it for tomorrow's big clash against Afghanistan in Group B of the International Cricket Council World Cup qualifier. Williams is recovering from a broken finger and is only likely to be available for selection the last match of the group against Scotland on next Monday. Creamer said that his unavailability was a setback for Zimbabwe, who would have benefited from his spin bowling. But on the back of the performance against Nepal, you got to think to yourself, we should be able to do without Sean Williams.
Hello, I'm Madinda Ndobu, the Highlanders coach. You are listening to ZiFM Sport.
Continuing with the rest of our local sports news roundup, we go to the football field where Highlanders coach Madinda Ndlovu's youthful side may have received a much-needed confidence booster ahead of their Council Premier Soccer League following their 2-1 win over an experienced Caps United side to lift the KCD Mahadi Shield at Barberfield Stadium yesterday. The victory was made sweeter for Bosso, who achieved the feat with 10 men following a red card to skipper Honest Moya in the 66th minute. Staying with football, Lloyd Matasa is worried about the fitness of his senior players just 2 weeks before the start of the Council Premier League soccer season. The Diambari coach voiced the concerns after watching his side fall to Zambian side Buildcon 2-1 in an international friendly at the National Sports Stadium on Saturday. And in baseball news, Zimbabwe baseball team coach Enrico Juma has expressed satisfaction with his side's preparations for an Easter tournament to be held in South Africa from the 3rd through to the 7th of April. Juma, a former national team player and African scout for the United States Major League Baseball, took the provisional 35-man squad through a grueling 3-day training session at Hamilton High School in Bulawayo at the weekend.
From the front of the grid to the back of the net, it's ZiFM Sport. International Sports News Roundup, where the world comes out to play.
A very cricketing theme on today's show, so that's what's first up in our international sports news roundup. The Proteas lasted just 18 minutes and 22 balls on day 5 before losing their last wicket as they fell to a 118-run defeat to Australia in their first test in Durban. It gives the visitors a 1-0 series lead with 3 matches to play. Having displayed some fight yesterday, thanks largely to a majestic 143 from opener Aiden Markram, South Africa resumed at 293 for 9 this morning, needing a further 124 runs for victory. That was never going to happen, and Australia finished off the match easily as Josh Hazelwood removed Quinton de Kock LBW for 83. I said just 83. Let's hear from winning captain Stephen Smith and Proteas captain Faf du Plessis on their thoughts on the match.
Yeah, really satisfying to win this first test match of the series. First test is always really important, particularly against a quality opposition like South Africa. So, yeah, really pleased with the performance. Was clinical in the end, and yeah, proud of the way the boys played.
No, very disappointing. I mean, that's stating the obvious. Would have liked to start the series on a positive note. There's a few learning opportunities for us to take from this test. As I said in the post-match now, that our bowlers were really good in this series, or this test match. Both teams were 150, 160 for 5 in all 4 innings. So it shows there that the learning that we can take is just to make sure that we're a bit more ruthless with their tail. If you look at them, how they did it, once they got through the first 7 or 8 batters, it was pretty easy to get through the tail. So learn from that, and also just take a bit more responsibility with the bat once you have an opportunity to get some runs. But I'm really proud of the character. As I said as well, that most teams that you play in a test match, when you get onto a position of strength like that, the team rocks up on day 4 and you bully them the whole day. So great to see the fight from our bowlers yesterday, bowling Australia out for 200 odd, and then not a great start with the bat, but then once again great character from the young guys just to start their series off really well, and that will do them very well for this series.
The voice of an audibly dejected Faf du Plessis there, talking about the match and in particular their key learning that, listen, if you're playing Australia, you've got to back through the order, because Australia is going to do exactly that, aren't they, Simba?
Absolutely, and I think it was a tale of the two tails.
Yes, exactly.
Because whereas the Australian tail posted 166 runs, South Africa's tail pretty much failed to wag and only posted 27.
Right.
Net result, they lost by 118. So if they had managed to get anywhere near a century from those last 3 to 4 wickets, they would have been in with a fight. But kudos to them, because to be honest, at the beginning of that second innings, we thought it would all be over within the first 3 days.
Yeah.
So to actually push it through the 4th day and slightly into the 5th day, 18 minutes or no.
Of the
What a waste. Come all that way flat. 22 minutes or 22 balls.
They needed to, didn't they? But important point made by Simba there, the fact that they showed fight on the 4th day, did the Proteas, and I think they can take heart from that, and we too can look at it as pundits and say to ourselves, this series is far from over, albeit that they were bullied on the first and second days, but that fight on the 4th day shows that there's something in the Proteas lineup, isn't there?
Yeah, definitely, and I think you know what, you've got the big guns all back in that side. You've got AB de Villiers, he's due for a big score. Faf du Plessis,
he doesn't run himself out again.
Exactly. So look, I certainly think the series is far from over, and I think it's going to be a humding, and I think it's going to go right down to the wire.
Yeah, you look to yourself, Quinton de Kock, he can wield a long handle. He got 83 in this game. He's sure to get another.
He keeps his mouth shut.
We'll talk about that just now. Aiden Markram again, and a good score. So you look at it, as Paz says, there's a lot there's some green shoots there that says to them, look, we shouldn't be as dejected as Faf du Plessis was sounding. I think they can be quite positive. Yes, it's always sad for the Proteas to lose to Australia because of the rivalry, but they can think to themselves, going into the next game, we've got a bit here.
Yeah, because if it wasn't also for that monumental collapse in that first innings,
yeah,
it would have definitely gone into that 5th day with something still to play for. But this is what they need to learn from, and hopefully by the time the second test comes around, they'll be able to actually show what that fight was about.
100%. Well, Pos, there was a bit of handbags in the tunnel, wasn't there? And a caught on TV, wasn't it?
Yeah, actually, I managed to catch a bit of it this afternoon because it's doing the rounds on all social media platforms. The big news of the day, unfortunately, was the overnight CCTV footage that had shown a verbal spat between Australia's David Warner and Quinton de Kock. The incident took place at tea, and it remains to be seen if any action will be taken against the players. So Australia and South Africa are at odds over this, over the origins of the stairwell incident between Warner and Quinton de Kock that has overshadowed the conclusion of the Durban test, which I think is a pretty shame. Australia say de Kock's words crossed the line. South Africa insists that Warner got personal. The incident obviously has been reported to the match referee, Jeff Crow, who I can tell you does not take any nonsense, and he's basically told both sides to cool it and avoid any further ugly incidents over the remainder of the series. So I think, guys, this is going to get a little bit. This is going to go a little bit further going into the remainder of the test matches.
Yeah, I hope that what it does is, and obviously this is assuming that there won't be any further sanction from either the match referee or any of the powers that be, and both players are able to play in that second test. I think what it's going to do is it's going to find expression in the passion on the field of play.
Yes,
I think it's going to make it very tasty.
It's actually going to bring excitement to the fans. For those that the intensity will increase. You know, when you are playing with this anger inside you, with this passion, that you want to beat them. So I think some of it we'll enjoy it.
It might be good, but I'm just wondering, when Australians who are famous for sledging say it crossed the line, how bad was it?
Do you know what?
You know what? Because these are the champions of even getting really personal.
Champions of crossing the line.
Crossing the line. So what is their line that really was crossed?
And let me tell you something now. A guy like Quinton de Kock, who is a very soft,
quiet boy.
And David Warner, we all know, is loud. He's like Jack Russell that just doesn't stop yapping.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't take a step back. But here's the thing.
Lightly, but we don't like.
Hold on. To be fair, the Australians, yes, the masters of sledging, but the Australians certainly know how to take it as well. They can take it. So my assumption is that something was said to Quinton. Hold the phone. Okay. Something was said to Quinton de Kock earlier, and then Quinton de Kock, when he fought back, and you know, when beware the fury of the quiet man, as the old adage says. So possibly when he fought back, old Quinton de Kock in inverted commas fought, he crossed the line in terms of the things that he said, and then David Warner, a man who doesn't step back like Pos said, decided, right, I'm going to take this lighty out, and that's when they started restraining him.
They're actually still in South Africa.
And sometimes kudo group eta muske wadiwa kuchke now.
It's a problem. So we'll see how this one pans out. We're going to keep a keen eye on this entire series. It promises to be a tasty one.
Hi, I'm JC Krill, Springbok and Blue Bulls backline player. You are listening to ZiFM Sports.
Around the world in 60 seconds. International sports news.
Arriba! We take off in Mexico, where Juan Martin Del Potro continued his dominance over Kevin Anderson, putting the brakes on South Africans' brilliant run of success to claim the ATP Mexican Open title over the weekend. Del Potro defeated the hard-serving Anderson 6-4, 6-4 in the final to claim his first title of 2018 and post his 7th straight career victory over Anderson. The 29-year-old Del Potro recorded his 21st career ATP title, but this is one of his biggest in years and the earliest he has hoisted a trophy since the 2014 season. Across to the USA, in key NBA results, Giannis Antetokounmpo scored 14 of his 35 points in the third quarter as the Milwaukee Bucks snapped a 4-game losing streak to see off the Philadelphia 76ers 118-110. James Harden, the Beard, Chris Paul, CP3, and the Houston Rockets needed some late dramatics to extend their win streak to 15 games. The Rockets used a late surge in the final 4 minutes to beat the Boston Celtics 123-120 for their 15th consecutive win. Touching down in South Africa, Muzansi, where we begin our Super Rugby Roundup. Former Springbok coach Nick Mallett says the Lions Super Rugby win over the Bulls in Pretoria was due to their dominance up front. The Lions scored 6 tries as well as a penalty try to beat their neighbours 49-35 in the Yukskai derby. In other results, Jaguares 9, Hurricanes 34. The Sharks 24-all draw with the Waratahs. Crusaders 45-28 over the Stormers, and the Sunwolves beaten at home 37-17 by the Rebels. Your Sport in 60 on a Monday.
Fan Zone. Get in touch with the team and have your say your way.
Operator.
The team is here to serve you. 0731168045. That's 0731168045. That is our WhatsApp number. Send them through and we'll be able to read them for you, so you can be like Moody, who says, absolutely loved all the sledging, especially Stark to Markram. He says apparently Quinton de Kock said something about Warner's wife.
Oh.
Now there's
that never goes down.
Yeah. Now there's crossing the line. If you want to cross
she likes
the line,
biscuits or something.
I'm sure, Mark. I'm sure it was about biscuits. I'm sure it was about.
But where is that coming from? From some lip readers or something?
No, listen. I think there's always people.
Speculation.
There's always people around, in and around the teams. Some media personnel, and obviously somebody then says something that says, "Look, this is possibly where the conversation was."
And some we've known to lie.
Fair point. Listen, Paz was telling us a story off air about things that happened in New Zealand and Australia as well. Yeah, it can get quite tough.
People went dissing Paz, just for the record.
Yeah, the person who was teased. Wana is the one who is supposed to come out and say what was said.
100%. I don't think he's gonna.
No, he won't. He'll wait for his book release.
There's honor amongst even in the sledging. There is honor. They're not gonna release and say what they said. Chances are we're gonna have to wait for the book and find out exactly what was said. Let's stay with the cricketing team. Alan in Narare says, "Hello guys. I think that our losses to Afghanistan in the past have been more of a psychological than ability, and them. That's Afghanistan losing to Scotland is just a boost for us that it can be done. Zim should take notes on how the Scots handled Rashid Khan. We understand that Rashid Khan couldn't even get a breakthrough. I mean, this is a guy who's right up there in terms of the bowling stakes.
But I'm not sure whether it was necessarily the Scots having his number or him just underperforming as well.
Right.
So if he plays to his potential, it's a totally different ball game tomorrow. But the good thing is he's got limited number of overs in which to bowl.
Yep.
So like we say in Zimbabwe, you just target the people that are around him and let him get on with his business. And then hopefully we get something positive out of it.
100%. Right. Pause.
Yes.
What do you fear more? What do you have confidence more in, the ability of a Rashid Khan not to show up on the day, or a Zimbabwe to actually show up against an Afghanistan?
A Zimbabwe to show up against Afghanistan.
That's what you hope for.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, as do we.
The hope and the fear.
all rolled into one. Send through your messages. This one says, good evening, gents. Great result for Liverpool this weekend. Have a bold prediction. Palace cause an upset tonight. Monday night game. Anything is possible.
Come on, Palace.
Do you know what? Everybody, we apologize for the noise in the studio. That means we've got two Manchester United fans who've been rubbed. So why don't we get into the beautiful game, Sean? While we're on it.
Alcohol may be hazardous to health if consumed to excess. The operation of machinery or driving after the consumption of alcohol is not advisable. Not for sale to persons under the age of 18 years.
Castle Lager is more than just beer. It's pure liquid gold, crafted from the finest local ingredients to deliver a taste that is somewhat dry, somewhat bitter, but never sweet. It's the taste that stood the test of time. It all comes together with a castle. From Rufaro to Barberfield, Mandava to Nyamunga, all the perfect moments in the Castle Lager Premier Soccer League come together on ZiFM Sport. The big leagues, the big teams, the big players. The beautiful game on ZiFM Sport.
The ZiFM sports team proudly dressed by Adidas. A sale not to be missed currently underway at the Ideal Range Adidas concept store here in Harare. Sam Levy's Village and the Village Walk. Soccer boots, rugby boots and all gym kits. Selected items up to 60% off. Hurry, hurry, hurry while stocks last. Right, straight into the beautiful game, and we'll go to La Liga, where Lionel Messi's 600th career goal for club and country sent Barcelona 8 points clear at the top of the La Liga table after a vital 1-0 win over Atletico Madrid. Messi converted his third free kick in 3 consecutive La Liga matches in the 26th minute to secure a deserved victory against Atletico, who only had 1 shot on target at the new camp yesterday afternoon. Other results from Spain: Villarreal going down at home to Genoa by 2-0. Sevilla beating Athletic Club 2-0. Leganes 2-0 winners over Malaga. Deportivo La Coruña and Eibar sharing the spoils 1 apiece. Real Madrid 3-1 winners over Getafe. Levante and Espanyol 1-1. Real Sociedad 2, Deportivo Alaves 1, and Valencia 2, Real Betis 0.
And just to talk about that, Lionel Messi bringing up 600. I mean, we've seen some absolutely worldly goals by Lionel Messi, but what a way to bring up your 600. What a free kick. Top corner. Jan Oblak, one of the best goalkeepers in the world, couldn't do anything about it.
And even though the wall jumped, I think he's put that doubt in every wall now, to jump or not to jump.
Exactly, yeah.
You don't jump, he goes over. You jump, he goes under. Part of you jumps, he still goes over. I mean, he's just putting so much fear into them, and whenever it goes into that sort of range, you know at the very least that he's going to hit the target.
You see, that's the beauty of football. You know, we when we play, we used to call it, you know, you must play chabuta ne opponent. You should know what's your next move. You know, when you dribbling.
You should always have a surprise about you.
This time I go inside. Next time I go outside. The third time I dummy as if I'm going inside, and I go outside. The fourth one I just go without dumming. Now the fifth one, until the end of the game, the defender doesn't know what you want to do, and now you play around. That is what Lionel Messi is now doing because you are successful with the under the feet, success. Then over the wall, success. Now they don't know what to do anymore. And sometimes the goalkeeper now he hits it right where he is, and sometimes he hits it to the far side. Now look, now he has got 4 scenarios of a free kick. What do you do as a goalkeeper and the wall? So that's the beauty of being accurate.
You know what, Simba? They talk about sort of match-winning performances, but you got to say to yourself that this season it certainly looks like Lionel Messi is putting in season-winning or championship-winning performances. Those are coming through
because there have been contexts in which he's banged in goals and they really haven't meant much. And this particular time, I mean, his goal tally is not really astronomical.
Yeah.
But it's the importance of the goals.
It's his contribution.
And sometimes not even the one that scores the winner, but sometimes it's the one that scores the one that puts them ahead or maybe draws them level or something like that. So it's always some sort of match-winning performance. And when he's not scoring, he's always delivering. You know, assisting. So you can't keep him out of the matches. He's definitely having a brilliant season. And as a run-up into the World Cup, hopefully that continues for him.
Yeah, certainly. And it looks like La Liga may have been wrapped up on this performance where Barcelona needed to get that victory to go 8 points clear. And you got to think to yourself, with 8 points and only a few games remaining in the season, I think this one is Barcelona's to lose. Hop, skip and a jump. Let's go into England, where the big chill was very prevalent last weekend. However, we will find out shortly from our intrepid reporter Mike Madoda whether the big chill is still subsisting in England. In the Premier League, it was business as usual for Manchester City, and it was another dark day for Arsene Wenger as his Arsenal side lost for a 4th consecutive time, meaning their top 4 chances are all but gone. Time for us to get our full Premier League roundup from our man on the ground in the United Kingdom, Mike Madoda.
Let's go north for our update from the United Kingdom on ZiFM Sport.
It's a very good evening, Zimbabwe, and it's a big greetings to Team Z. I've got to say I miss you guys. I really do. Pause, Bunge, Baz, Sean. Come on, man. I wish I was back home in the studio doing our thing on Z. which is, of course, the biggest sports show anywhere on Zimbabwe radio. But I'm out here representing, guys. I'm out in Taunton. It's considerably warmer now, I've got to say. I mean, hey, the beast had landed this past week, but the temperatures are rising. It's more pleasant. It's a lot warmer. I'm out in Taunton, which is in the county of Somerset, the southwest of England, and that's where I was taking Premier League action in from. Let's run through the results from the weekend, starting with the early kickoff on Saturday. Burnley beating Everton 2-1, a second half comeback inspired by Ashley Barnes at Turf Moor. Leicester City and Bournemouth in a 1-1 draw. Riyad Mahrez with the equaliser in added time for the Foxes. Southampton and Stoke City could not be separated in a goalless draw. Swansea hammering West Ham 4-1 as they make a real fist for it. They are fighting for survival tooth and nail. Watford edged out West Brom 1-0, and you've got to say Alan Pardew's days look numbered, and so do Albion's in the Premier League. Tottenham beat Huddersfield 2-0 at Wembley, and Liverpool defeated Newcastle United 2-0. Mohamed Salah pulling level with Harry Kane on 23 goals in the race for the Golden Boot. Sadio Mane, the Senegalese midfielder, with the other goal for the Reds. And then yesterday, Sunday action, so Brighton and Hove Albion secure a famous 2-1 victory over a stuttering, limping Arsenal, and Arsene Wenger is under all sorts of pressure in North London. In the big game of the weekend, Manchester City defeated Chelsea 1-0, and subsequent to that defeat at the Etihad, Chelsea manager Antonio Conte, the Italian, taking a lot of criticism for his negative approach in a game that the Blues could ill afford to lose in the race for Champions League football, and rightfully so. The stats do make dull reading for the Italian schemer. Let's run through those telling stats, shall we? Possession was 71-29 in favour of Manchester City. Total shots 13-3 in favour of Manchester City. Shots on target, Chelsea actually had none in 90 minutes. Total passes 975 for Manchester City, just 392 for Chelsea. In defence, tackles won, City 82%, Chelsea 63.6%. Those stats are telling. Conte has got a lot of work to do if he's to qualify for the Champions League, and of course he's got to worry about the performance of his team both in defense and attack, and they got that crunch match against Barcelona that's looming at the Camp Nou. But for Pep Guardiola, it was yet another polished performance, business as usual, and another 3 points picked up on the road. Let's hear from Pep Guardiola.
He's our champion, and we're still champion, and especially the way we played. So attacked and players there defensively, amazing, well organized, and we didn't concede one chance. We created enough to win the game, so to score more goals. So our high pressing, our build up, and outstanding. So we're so happy because it's of course another step forward to be champion. We have 78 points in the 1st of March, so it's a lot of points. So, and again the performance, so we did perfect.
So it's now 83 goals scored by the citizens and 78 points in the bag. The big question is, can they hit the 100 mark in both? They have just 9 games to pull off a double 100. From England, it's Mike.
Tune in next time for our update from up north. The update from the United Kingdom on ZiFM Sport.
That was our crossover to the United Kingdom, getting an update of what's happening in the Premier League. But obviously the biggest game of the weekend is that Manchester City-Chelsea game, where Chelsea employing very negative tactics and deploying, I believe, Eden Hazard in a very ineffective way. And Antonio Conte, for me, I think he overthought it a bit, didn't he, Simba?
Overthought it, and then unfortunately for him was also very slow in reacting.
Yeah.
Because when it was then unclear whether those guys, like, you had Willian, you had Pedro, you had Hazard who were in there, and you're hoping that even if they're just going to be rotating, because the starting formation is just that, it's the starting formation.
True.
He's not bound to stay there.
Yeah.
He could have come deep, but obviously the coach's instructions are stay there, but the balls were not coming.
No, they were
not. I
not.
think in the first 10 minutes he had hardly touched the ball. And the frustration started to build, and then that destroyed, and Pedro kept losing possession.
Yeah.
So at some point I think you should have realized that there's no creativity coming out of this if we're going to have to overrun this or bypass this midfield. Maybe let's put a target man up there.
Pause, you're about to say?
Yeah, I mean, Hazard might as well have gone and sat with the fans in their way in, because really, I mean, he was playing as a false number 9.
Yeah.
And he was pretty much a spectator throughout the whole game.
Yeah, you see my problem, Bez.
Yeah, sure.
If he is playing as a false number 9, that is being false number 9.
Yeah.
So he can't be complaining about jumping for balls with Otamendi and all that.
He wasn't playing as an out-and-out striker. That's the point, isn't it?
Yes, that's the point.
So he had the
freedom to drop in and get the ball. Lionel Messi has played in that position with aplomb.
Yeah.
And Lionel Messi is shorter than Hazard.
Yep.
And he didn't have to stay there and shield and protect the ball. He was supposed to come deep. I think that was the strategy.
Sorry to cut in. I'll give you an example. Bobby Firmino at Liverpool is not an out-and-out striker.
Yes.
That's not his position.
It's not.
He's a false 9. What does he do? He drops in. He swaps with Salah, with Mane.
Lots of movement.
They move around.
Yes. Why did Hazard stay there? Why was he staying there? Now we are being told to blame the coach. That the coach. I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so. I blame Hazard.
It's not sabotage exactly, Simba. But the answer for me is that Conte has lost the dressing room, or at least lost some players in the dressing room, and one of them is included.
They just don't want to play.
They don't want to play for him.
They just don't want to play.
What, as Hazard was told to do, Hazard didn't do. He didn't play like a false 9.
You was actually out there to actually show the people that look at what we are being made to, how we are being made to play. Yes, because instead, imagine. Half time, he had touched the ball 7-8 times.
Yeah, no.
A false number 9 now, how can you be touching the ball just 8 times for the whole half? 45 minutes.
And you know what? The single shot
just
on target the entire match.
The entire match. And the net result, Pause, if you look at the league tables, they are absolutely frightening for Chelsea. They may well not make the Champions League, won't they?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it now, they've dropped to 5th place on 53 points. I mean, 5 points behind Tottenham, who take up that 4th spot on 58 points. Arsenal, well, totally out of the race now in 6th place on 45 points. You can write them off. But certainly the big worry has been Chelsea. And for me, no Champions League football. I think Antonio Conte will be walking at the end of the season.
Yeah,
I think he's walking all the same.
Yeah, he's walking all the same. Even if they make it, I think they're irreconcilable differences there. Just looking at the relegation battle, that looks very tasty indeed. In 20th position, West Bromwich Albion. I think that we can cut them adrift. In 19th position, on 27 points, Stoke City. Also on 27 points, Crystal Palace. That's a relegation zone. Now, in 17th position, on 28 points, 1 point above the relegation, the drop zone, Southampton. 29 points in 16th position, Newcastle. Huddersfield in 15 on 30 points. I think all the way to 10th position, you got teams, a clutch of teams that are either on 30, 31 points, and it's only separated.
You have 9 games, 27 points.
There's going to be a lot of shifting around in those 9 matches. Anyone can go down tonight, along with West Brom.
Let's quickly predict. Who do you think is going to go down? Well, obviously, we all agree West Brom's down.
West Brom is gone. For me, I think that Crystal Palace will go down. I think that it might be Southampton. I think it'll be Southampton.
I've got a feeling Southampton will pull through.
No.
I don't know. I've got this feeling that they belong to the Premier League.
So who's going down?
Can't go down.
We're running out of time.
My issue here is, besides the West Brom,
Newcastle.
The teams that have traditionally had a bit of fight in them, Newcastle are one of them, so I don't see them going down. The teams that are in unfamiliar territory, like the Southamptons, haven't really had a recent fight. So I think they might be in there, and so all going to go down to the final day.
All right, some important news coming out of Italy. We need to address that. Pause.
Yeah, to Serie A in a weekend marred by the untimely death of Fiorentina captain David Astori. Eden Dzeko scored twice as Roma dealt a major blow to Napoli's hopes of winning the Serie A title with a 4-2 victory at the Stadio San Paolo on Saturday night. Napoli, who last won the Scudetto in 1990, led reigning champions Juventus by 4 points before the gap was closed to one of their following their dramatic 1-0 triumph at Lazio earlier on Saturday. But certainly a very, very sad day, not only for Italian football, but for world football in a whole.
World football in general. And news is that Fiorentina defender Davide Astori, his shock death yesterday was due to a suspected cardiac arrest by natural causes, a prosecutor has said. As a formality, Italian prosecutors have opened a culpable homicide case to ascertain if the death of Astori came about through tragic fatality or if someone could have foreseen something. The Italy international was discovered in his hotel room in Udine by club staff on the morning Fiorentina were due to face Udinese in Serie A. Very sad, and of course the condolences have come in from all over the world, and here on ZiFM Sport we also pass our condolences to the Astori family and the entire Italian footballing family on a weekend where such a shocking result came out, where, for me, shocking, because Napoli's form would have said that they would have prevailed over Roma, and Roma really made light work of them, didn't they?
Yeah, and it's actually boring to me, you know me, and I was hoping that, I would put my money on them, and they disappointed. You know, they might just give it back to Juve again. I don't like that kind of scenario. I'm just surprised, though, that how did Astori sleep by himself? I thought players usually...
Yeah, they share rooms. Perhaps because he was the club captain.
Captain, but I think a real touch of class by the club to come out. They realized, I don't think today, he was actually meant to sign a contract extension, and they've actually apparently awarded him a lifetime contract. So all of those proceeds are going to go to his family.
Brilliant. And on that very touching note, we have to call it a day. We'll catch you tomorrow. May God richly bless you. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Manandi, out.
Be sure to catch ZiFM Sport every weekday on ZiFM Stereo. My station, your station.